Sahil, I think we can start. It's already 11:05.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Sahil, you are audible. Go ahead.
So good morning, everyone. We welcome you all in today's insightful session on design thinking for startups. Before we proceed, let's do a check on the housekeeping. So first thing, everybody is requested to grab a pen, pencil, and some paper. Be care. So we have the we'll be enabling the annotation when the speaker will be presenting. So request you to be very careful with your annotations and leave anything else that can distract you, your phone. Request, I hope everybody's joining from their systems, desktops, laptops, for a better experience, as this would be a more interactive session than a one-way session. Also, keep a check on what's your whys. In case you have questions, raise your hands, write it down in the chat, and we'll unmute you so that you can interact with the speaker one to one. So this is the agenda for today. Our session is of 90 minutes. So we'll be starting with the opening keynote. Uh, so a quick brief about Amity Innovation Incubator. Amity Innovation Incubator is more than a decade-old incubator and has been hand-holding startups from pre-incubation, commercialization to acceleration, further investment support. We have supported more than 300 startups over the course of our journey and invested in more than 55 startups from our own investment vehicle, Amity Capital Ventures, popularly known as ACV. AII has been supported by Department of Science and Technology, DST, Niti Aayog under their Atal Innovation Mission, and Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology under its MSH initiative. Uh, we have with us Miss Gauri Mohan, who's a global design thinking, innovation, and organization. Who's a global design thinking, innovation, and organizing culture change trainer with 18 years of professional diversified experience. She's played IT and business centric roles. She's a trainer. She's a coach. She's a strategist, consultant, and manager. She's been certified with Duke CE trainer, IDEO U Global Design Thinking and Culture Coach. She's been awarded as for Agile Transformation by Ford, IBM Leadership Program, Innovation Acceleration via Design Thinking. Over to you, ma'am. I'll stop presenting my screen now. So I'll just.
Okay, thank you, Sahil, for a warm welcome, and hope everyone is doing great. Okay, I'll request everybody to keep their videos on. It's going to help us to interact and build a connection. Okay, are you excited for today's session? If you are, show me a thumbs up. Great, awesome. So am I. Okay, so this session is about design thinking, and what we're going to begin with is an exercise, a small exercise. Let me know if you're able to see my screen first. Are you able to see my screen? Show me a thumbs up, please. Thanks. Okay, so we're going to begin with a small exercise, and I hope you have a pen and paper, as Sahil just mentioned. Show me a thumbs up, please. Okay, great. So we start with this exercise, and this exercise is about designing a table. Hear me out, please. This exercise is about designing a table. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. If you see on the screen, I have a timer. It's a 2-minute timer. All you need is a pen and a paper, and the requirement here is that you have to design this table for a 7-year-old kid. Okay, so should we begin? Okay. Okay, time up. Uh, is everybody through with the designing? Okay, show me a thumbs up. How many people are through with the designing? Okay, and full. Some of them, I'm sorry, have not enabled their video, but I can see yes, great. And show me people who are still doing it. Show me a thumbs up, people who are still doing it. Okay. Nobody? Okay, show me, show the thumbs up people who have not done anything at all. Anybody who has not done anything at all? Great. Chetan. Anybody else besides Chetan whom I'm missing here? Vinay. Okay. So I'm going to request Sahil to unmute, or can they unmute themselves? Sahil?
Just a minute, ma'am.
So I'll request Vinay first to share why he has not started with anything.
Well, I think it is because, right from childhood, I hate doing homeworks or I hate doing exercises. So it's a mental block. I do not follow any, do this thing instructions.
Okay, great. Any other specific thing besides this, Vinay?
Ma'am, just a minute. So there is a message in the chat. So we have Dr. Subha Gomti. She says she is visually challenged, so she may not be able to use pen and paper work. Rather, I am noting down on a laptop. Hope that is fine with the meeting agenda. And moreover, I may not be able to use chat panel. Can I use microphone to interact? Kindly let me know recording the session for noting down the points.
Sure, absolutely. Please feel free, Dr. Shubha, to ask any questions, and I'll be happy to answer those. Chetan, how about you? Chetan, was that Chetan NC who gave a thumbs up? Yes. Can you unmute yourself? Yes, please. Why you did not do anything?
Ma'am, it's my first webinar. I don't know how to do that, ma'am. Design.
Sorry, say that again. What was the first line? I missed that.
Ma'am, it's my first webinar.
Okay.
I don't know how to do this.
Okay. Anybody else who has not done anything at all?
Yeah, I couldn't do it because I was not able to follow the screen. I'm just looking for the oral instructions. So that's the reason I'm not able to do.
Okay. Yes,
Yeah.
Dr. Shubha, I understand. But any other thoughts after hearing, reading the instructions? Let me know if you have any thoughts of doing
Yeah.
or not doing, and I'll be happy to know from you. We'll go to the rest of the people who have given a thumbs up on people who have done it. Can you show what you have made? Quickly, please. Can you just lift your paper and show it and zoom it? Zoom it, please, so that everybody can see each other's. Bring it closer to the camera. Great. Okay. Archana has designed a table. Okay. So, Archana, a question for you. What kind of a table is this? Sahil, you have to unmute everybody. Is Archana? Yes, Archana, please.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm very happy. As sir said that he hates instruction. Sometimes I like instructions and I like drawing. So you have said that we have to make a table, and table means so many things. A dining table, a table of 1, 2, 3, 4. So many tables. Office table. So one thing I could understand is I had to make a table for a children. So I imagine that how I can explain it in a better fashion, how I can make it very easy. So I have just drawn a table of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it is, I have explained in a language of pictures. So picture of a tree, picture of a star, picture of a dot, picture of a circle. So he can understand different shapes and analogy with the scenario and analogy with the nature, what we can see each and every day. So he can count something.
Thanks, Archana. So I bring back this discussion to the screen. I'll share the screen. You're able to see the screen.
Currently the screen is not visible.
Maybe now.
It's loading.
Yes. Okay. So, my requirement was here that you have to design a table, and that too for a 7-year-old kid. I gave you only 2 minutes to design this table. And, the way, the reason I wanted you to do it, whether you like doodling or you don't like it, or, and one of the reasons I wanted you to do it is that the way we work on the requirement is that we immediately start working on the solution. Have you noticed that? Whenever something comes as a requirement, we immediately start working on the solution. But the question here is, did we understand the problem? Did we understand the problem? And did we even understand for whom are we designing the solution for? Who is that 7-year-old kid? What are their requirements? Most of the time, whenever we're designing something, it's a solution in a startup. It could be a product, a service, or an experience. It is mostly based on our assumptions. And that is the biggest problem. We have to step out of our own assumptions and understand what our consumer wants. And how do we understand that? We understand that by reaching them, by connecting them, but not by our own assumptions. So that's what organizations like, sorry, you're able to see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, it's visible.
I don't know, I'm not able to share it again.
If you could end the screen share and then share it again.
Okay, so that's what organizations like IKEA, you know, this organization is into accessories, home accessories, and designing the furniture and this kind of things. But the way they approach to this problem is that what they do is they actually literally go to their consumer, and they understand not only by just talking to them and being in that environment, but they literally bend on their knees a 7-year-old kid's height, and they experience the kind of emotions they have. You know, when they're interacting with their parents, when they're interacting with the school, what kind of emotions comes in, and what kind of, you know, when they are playing together, at what that kind of a height, what kind of things comes in. So that's the way, you know, you have to literally immerse in your consumer's life. So one, I talked about overcoming your assumptions by actually challenging and doing those things and talking to your consumer. The other is you immerse by experiencing those things yourself. So these are the two very fundamental and most important things. When you do it for any problem, be it designing a product, service, or solution, or even, you know, team issues, it really helps you to move out of your own beliefs and mindset and look at the world from the way the others look at the world. Okay, I go back. I hope it shows now. You're able to see it?
Yes.
It's
So this is the whole purpose of doing this exercise was to, you know, initiate the customer centricity thinking in us. And what do you see on the slide? Anybody?
No.
What do you see
That
on the slide?
some brand names and the car.
Basically brand names which didn't update and they got shut down or something like that.
Absolutely.
We can see
Great.
logos of Kodak, Nokia, Nirulas, and Ambassador.
Okay, thank you for the one who brought in this thing that the you know, the ones which did not change with times. And why they did not change? Because they did not change with the changing needs of the consumer. The third fundamental and the most important thing is your consumer is changing every day. Look at the kind of information we have. You know, if you talk to me today and if you talk to me tomorrow, you would find a difference. That is how the change is happening in the behavior of a consumer. So that's the third important thing that you need to see, that you need to constantly understand the consumer by being connected to them and understand their changing needs. Look at the current example, the COVID example. A lot of businesses are struggling, you know, they're grappling because of the changing needs of the consumer. So I come back to another slide, and that is that I'm bringing this quote. It is a few years ago quote from Bill Gates, but this is still valid. And it says that every product his company makes will be obsolete. The only question is whether we will make them obsolete or somebody else will. So how important it is to innovate continuously. It is about understanding the consumer. It is about going back to your product or the service or the experience and then evolving it with time. So this is something which is very important. And there is a lot of questions which you might have in your mind when we are talking, you know, about this why of design thinking. So far, we have just addressed the why part. Why do we need design thinking? So the why part also talks about some questions I often hear. How do we create a culture of innovation in our organization? How do we solve complex challenges at workplace, transform our products, people, service or consumer experience? How do we unlock new markets, stay relevant in this VUCA world? VUCA is, the old definition is volatile, uncertain, complex and ambiguous. The new definition is vision, understanding, clarity and agility. So the world is changing very fast. And the most important one, which is very valid in the current time, is how might businesses of all kinds rapidly adapt to support the immediate needs of COVID response and enable a more just and resilient future. So I'm sure these kind of questions are coming in your mind also. I'll be happy to take up any questions which you have. Please let Sahil know and we can certainly take up those. The point I'm trying to bring in here is all these have one answer, and that is that the human for whom you're solving the problem. Connect with that human. And so this is the whole heart of design thinking. So I moved from why to, I'm moving slowly to what is design thinking. Anybody would like to raise what is design thinking? Anybody? Please mute yourself. People who are not speaking, please mute yourself. Yes. Someone was trying to say something. What is design thinking?
Anybody who wishes to speak could raise their hand, and they'll be able to unmute themselves.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Ramdas.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, designing thinking means as a action plan, what we can do in the future, or what can we do the in present.
Okay.
That's
So design thinking, I just make it more clear for everybody. Design thinking is a human-centered approach, and this human-centered approach is basically not only for creative problem solving, but also to identify the right problem. So design thinking is a human-centered approach for identifying the right problem and solving it creatively by integrating three things. And those three things are, the foremost is the needs of the people for whom you're designing the solution, the requirement of business success, your business, what is the requirement of your business success? Does it match with what people's needs are? And how do you make this solution feasible? So these are the three important things, and we'll look at this a little closely when I'll show you the design thinking lens. So design thinking is not only a problem solving approach, but it is also to identify the right problem. The first thing is often we are solving the wrong problem. And that is what design thinking helps you to identify the right problem to solve. Okay, so list of organizations. I brought in some of the startups also. I brought in organizations from very different and diverse sectors, from pharmaceutical to manufacturing to audit company to strategy making company to education, universities to food delivery apps to Google, IBM, and Coca-Cola, FMCG, and many more. So you look at the kind of diversity of organizations which are using, and the reason why I wanted to bring this is because it's the whole you can name any problem which a human is facing, and you can see that you can attempt to solve it using design thinking. A lot of people are looking at designing their life as well using design thinking. So it has been used in many different sectors. I wanted to quickly touch upon this. This is available on Google, and you would get my slides also. I'll send it to Sahil and he can share it with everybody. I wanted to touch upon this McKinsey Design Index. It is an index which was published in 2018, and they have been constantly, updating on what's the next steps from the leaders. This index basically measures how strong your organization is in design as a capability. And so what they did is that they actually measured over a period of 5 years. And that's the time they measured these organizations ranging from medical technology to consumer packaged goods to retail banking. These are the 3 sectors where they focused on that how strong design as a capability is being used and how it has actually been linked to the financial revenues and total return to shareholders. So after doing lots of interview surveys across the world in these 3 sectors, what they figured out is that the organizations which are using strong design capabilities, and I'm going to talk about those design capabilities in a minute, are actually having twice the revenue as compared to their competitors, and also are having twice the total return to shareholders. So this is the financial side I wanted to show, that how organizations are picking up. But what is that they are measuring? So I'm going to the quick things on the right are the 4 things which they talk about, or which this McKinsey Design Index encompasses, and that is that you actually embed design in your strategy. So it's about understanding your consumer from the strategic level. How do you make that consumer strategy? And how do you have those metrics and measures loaded in the organization, which are more consumer centric? How do you actually nurture a cross-functional talent in the organization? So it's not about working in silos anymore. It is about people joining in hands in the teams, not from only a sales team or a marketing team. People coming together from different domains and solving a problem. That is something which we encourage in design thinking. It is not about only sales people solving the sales problem. It is about teams coming from different departments together solving the problem. Because they bring in a different perspective. Because often what happens is we are in the same kind of a thinking, and we need some people to always come back and tell us that, hey, there's a different way to look at this as well. So that's something which we want to hear as a new perspective. And very important, everything is revolving around the consumer. So focus on your user experience, the consumer. So everything has to revolve around that consumer. Listen to your consumer, continuously co-create with your consumer in the continuous iterative way. Iterative is that you continuously take their feedback, evolve your product, and keep on launching it to the market. So listen to their needs, the new needs, evolve it, and then launch it. Yes, Ritvik has a question.
Yeah, ma'am. Actually, I wanted to understand one thing. That is, the word design thinking is something that a lot of companies use, just like you said right now. But what is the difference in approach that, let's say, a company like Apple has, which famously says, we know what products you need in your life, and they design around that philosophy, and versus the kind of philosophies that you are telling us right now about that, okay, listen to your customer, talk to them, show it to them, and work with them like that. So how are these both following the design thinking philosophies, and are they different, or what is the gradation of that?
So Ritvik, they are same. Apple has been using design thinking very extensively. They have been doing everything using design thinking, and I think if you would have seen my slides, there is Apple as a logo.
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
So yes, they have been using, and so when you understand, how do you understand someone? You talk to them. You try to understand them by observing them, by being with them, by experiencing what they're feeling, and then you say that you understand. You know what I need, right? So that's how that's the kind of a relationship you establish with it. It is immersive, it is extensive, it is intensive, but this is very rewarding. But the initial part is very painstaking, and that is what, if you do it right, it will help. Let me walk you through the design thinking phases, and I'll just very quickly walk you all through these phases. You have these 6 phases, and what happens in this is that you start with the core of design thinking, the heart of design thinking, and that is to understand for whom you're solving the problem. And that's human. It could be a team issue in your organization. It could be a issue with your consumer. It could be a business issue. It could be your investor issue. So understand your consumer or the human for whom you're solving the problem. Now, this is where you know them very well. And you know, with a lot of, we use a lot of different techniques here to understand them. And then finally, you come to know their needs, the compelling insights. You started with some other problem, but you would see that often 95% of the time, in my experience, I've seen the problem actually shifts. We never solve that problem which we started with. And that's the beauty of this entire phase. It's a painstaking phase, as I said, but this is very rewarding if it is done right. So you identify the right problem to solve from the consumer perspective. And then you see if that's a business opportunity for you, and you look at those things. And if it's something which you can make it feasible, other things which you look at. So this inspiration which you gather by knowing your consumer is something which you use in ideation, because here in every phase you're constantly in touch with your consumer. And what happens is that in this you actually push past your obvious solutions. You move to the non-obvious solutions. That's something which helps this, which is helped by this inspiration. Then you move to the prototyping stage. As I said, you're co-creating with your consumer. You are involving them in every phase, because remember, every word of their what is being spoken actually counts a lot in what you're building. So you develop, you quickly, rapidly make a prototype, you show it to them, let them voice out whatever they hear. Remember, the beauty is not in hearing the appreciation the first time and taking it longer to develop. The beauty is, and the value is, when you make it so rough and rapid that when you show it to your consumer, they give you a feedback, which actually helps you. It's going to hit you hard for the first time, because it's going to be all the other side of the other side of the quote, and that's all going to be the negative part. But that's something which is going to be a more learning part, and that's going to help you to quickly come back, build that prototype, or if it's not working, just throw it and make the other one. So it has to be very rapid and rough and very quick one, not a longer one. And you continuously test with them, and you keep on evolving. There are lots of techniques called minimum viable product, which is when you start with the most important need, and then you move to the other needs, and then you keep on gold plating. But remember, the core is the most important need. So that's something which this entire design thinking phases talk about, from understanding the problem to exploring the problem with different ideas, and then bring it to life. Okay, we talked about this very quickly, the design thinking lens. And this design thinking lens is where, it is about, as I shared in the definition of the design thinking, is also, it's a human-centered approach about identifying the right problem, and then solving it creatively using, integrating the 3 most essential things. The first is the desires of your consumer, their hopes, their aspirations, their challenges, and then you come to what makes a business opportunity from the compelling insights you've gathered, and then what all you can deliver, what all makes sense, or do you have to partner with somebody. So these are it's something which helps you to initially evolve your product. And even if you have actually built your product, it still helps you, because what happens is you constantly enhance your product. So, it's not about just doing it one time. As I said, consumer needs keep on changing. So it's about continuously being with them and connecting with them. Okay, we move to a very important part if people are not sleeping or finding it boring. And that is, why is design thinking important for startups? Okay, so think about it for a moment. I will open the, I'll open this whiteboard. Give me a moment. So far, whatever you have heard, I know it's just too quick to ask that, but I'll also share with you, but let me ask you. I'm not able to do it, Sahil.
Do you want me to open the whiteboard?
Yes, yes. It will be helpful if you do it. I think I don't have the permission to do that.
Is my
Yes,
visible?
yes, yes. Very much. I want everybody to start, annotating here, even one or two words, why you think design thinking is important for startup. Can we start that?
Well, it gives opportunity to figure out.
We want you, sorry, Srinivas, we want you to put it over there on the whiteboard.
I don't have permission to do that, probably. Okay.
Oh, okay.
You'll
see
go up and click on annotate. Go on the more option, and you'll find annotate option there.
Yes, please, everybody can do it. You don't have to wait for others, and I'll request.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, Dr. Suba.
Yeah. So we would like to go with the designing, as you said, like we need to know the customer in the, for example, the initial one, that 7-year-old like designing a table for 7-year-old kid. So while we have to understand their shoes better, and then coming up with the product, whether it is a healthcare or whether it is a utilitarian product or whether it is anything which is like customer oriented at the end of the day. So we need to understand their emotions first, and how far these product will be successful would be depend only on the emotions that they have built in, that they have attached to that.
Excellent point. Sahil, if you can just add this, please annotate here. Please don't write it on the chat. It will be helpful for everybody to see, because we all hold different perspectives. So we want that to come out of
So here
our
I am
mind.
highlighting the emotion part which is attached to the product. So that
Yes.
is my annotation.
Indeed, it's certainly the emotional part is the most critical part, and absolutely what you brought in is a very valuable thing. And I'll touch upon something in next couple of slides. It's called latent needs, and that's something which is something resonating with the word you said, emotions. Latent are the hidden needs. It's not something which you just make me. If you're into marketing, you ask me a couple of questions, and I put in the survey. Or maybe often many people are not ready to answer the surveys. Even if you ask me, I'm not able to explicitly state that. So these are the latent needs. And that's something which only happens when you truly immerse in being with them. And often these latent needs are more of emotional needs. And one of the things which it helps you is to build an emotional connection with your consumer. The moment you build an emotional connection, a chord with your consumer, everything works well. So it's like, have you seen, there are lots of movies you actually watch on TV or in the cinema hall. What happens is that initially only you quickly connect yourself with the character. And then sometimes, people are crying, they're actually having those same kind of emotions. So it's that kind of an emotional connect you see. It's not only about understanding, but experiencing.
Right.
Okay, keep on, please keep on writing. We want everybody to write here.
So for the people who are unable to annotate, you need to click on more. There you'll find an option to annotate, and then you can start annotating on the screen.
Okay, understand what customer needs so we can build a product, find target, explore new segments, the marketplace in our capacity, reduces the failure, finding the right pain points. It is more fun. Absolutely, it is indeed more fun. It fulfills our creative needs and reaching the needs of the consumer. And if something is already written, please do not repeat that. Something which you're bringing as a new would be helpful, and the light colors would something is very difficult and hard to read. Then probably you can privately send it to Sahil, and Sahil can later put it quickly on the annotate, and we'll just get it. We'll just give another 30 seconds, final 30 seconds, and then we'll wrap up this exercise. This is just to get a pulse of what you're hearing. Are you also understanding, and is it something which you're learning as well? Yes, sustenance is very important. So when we say the word sustain here, often people think that it is only about sustaining the same product. So I wanted to share here. Often it is also about sustaining the business. So as I said, it's not the same product might be useful. So but it is important to sustain our business and look for different opportunities also. A lot of organizations are actually revisiting their purpose also during this COVID time, and they're looking at how they can help the people who are suffering a lot, and they are looking at from the social aspect as well. So, and a lot of organizations are revisiting the purpose in terms of, I wanted to quickly bring in Ford here. Ford Motor Company has started actually, they actually manufacture the cars. So what they've done is they have used their factory for making the medical equipment during this COVID time. So it is not only just looking and in some same window, while the outside the external environment is very different. So it is also to constantly know and then see what you can deliver, where you can create value for the customer.
Ma'am, Mr. Sriram KV is raising his hand.
Sure, please.
Yeah, ma'am. Like looking at the definition and the explanation you have been giving, I am wondering why do companies, big companies, fail in this concept of design thinking? Like, you showed examples of many big companies which have not adopted to the customer needs and have failed in the business. So when it is so obvious that we have to think from the customer's point of view, and the entire concept of marketing revolves around the consumer, requirement only, then why do these companies actually do not think from that point of view in spite of the long experience they have in the business?
Absolutely, a great point, Sriram. This actually calls for a reflection. This calls for a reflection because, as I said, it is not about doing the same thing same way. The way we have been doing traditionally, the way we have been doing marketing traditionally, if we continue to do the same way the marketing, it will not yield the same result. It will not yield a different result. So as I give an example of marketing as well, it's not about just giving us surveys and then coming back with the consumer needs. It is about understanding really a consumer, because the consumer is changing and their needs are changing a lot. So it is about taking that step and understanding them and being with them to experience this. Anything which I missed out? You have any other question? which I did not interpret properly, Sriram?
Ma'am, may I ask a question?
Sorry, Dr. Shubha, 1 second. Sriram, did I answer the question, or was the question something else? Okay, Dr. Shubha, yes, please.
Yeah, actually, when you said they have to keep adapting to the changing environment, right? Even the methodology that they have to change. So, is there any specific methodology that has been widely followed or anything like during this current situation in mind?
Yes, absolutely. Design thinking is being followed extensively. It's a human-centered approach. It has been applied even today. I'll share with you a couple of examples. I have startup examples that we can and we'll walk through. Someone else was about to say something.
Yes, ma'am.
Has a question.
Yes.
Ma'am, how is design thinking approach going to help for businesses or services that have a one-time transaction to be had with the customer? Famously, an example can be like Muthoot Finance. So they have their thing that you give them gold and they give you a loan in return of that. So for a vast number of people, that they will that's a transaction they will do only once or at best twice. So design thinking, today are not applying it in my from my point of view at least, because they have this approach that they have to interact with the customer once. It's a one-time transaction with the customer. I don't know if I'm correct in thinking that way.
No, absolutely. Everybody is partially correct always. So, Ritvik, I'm sorry you were breaking, but what I heard, and I'll summarize, is you're looking for a one-time transaction. Yes, like not Muthu Finance. I'm not too sure are they following design thinking or not, but there are organizations which are following indeed in this area also. See, there are different techniques. I've not explored and shared with you kind of different techniques. There is something called a customer journey mapping. There is something called just observing them. There is about making a rapport with them. There is about being in their shoes. So according to the scenario, what does it need? The situation, what the situation needs from the business perspective, and what the consumer needs are both the things which are being looked at. And then accordingly, the whole plate of techniques which we pluck in one of them and apply it there and see that. So it is applicable for all kinds of human-centered approach, any human-centered, any human problem which people are looking at. And just to bring it to you, this is being used with emerging technologies as well. So it's just like virtual reality, augmented reality, and many more. Okay, we go to the next if nobody has a question, and thank you for annotating. And I see the lots of great inputs coming here. And start designing is very important. Yes. So design thinking, the most important thing here is please, it is not only about thinking. People think that the word says that it is. Have you seen the way I started this session? I asked you to quickly start doing something. So it is about the way we normally address any problem is we start doing quickly. We do not give a lot of time to thinking. There's a lot of work we do mostly, and the thinking is there. It goes parallelly. Yes, Sham Prakash has a question. I move to the next slide. Thanks, Sahil. Maybe you can take a picture of this and keep it handy, and we move, I'll take back the control. And
Ma'am, can I ask a question?
yes, please. Just
Yes,
one
sorry,
moment. I'll just go.
Yes.
Yes, please, Sham.
Yes, sorry for that. My cam is not working. And this one, you told no, there is some, you heard about a car manufacturer who changed the entire vertical into somewhat based on the COVID problem. It has been entirely changed. Is that the right decision based on the designing they had taken, because the demand graph, if it goes high, it should be coming down at one stage.
Yeah. So Sham, firstly, sorry to interrupt. It is not about changing the business model. They have just revisited the purpose and reused their capabilities. They have not changed the business model. It does not mean that Ford would only now do this kind of a thing in future.
No. I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry for
So
interrupting.
this is no, absolutely. You've got a great point. So it is not about, please understand, it is not about completely shifting. A lot of people think that, the moment they hear a story, they think that it is about changing the complete business model. Please, a company like Ford is a very big, massive organization, and they have lots of things which they are doing beside manufacturing the cars. So it does not mean that they stop manufacturing the car and only do those things. It is about expanding. It is about constantly maintaining a relationship with your consumer, and as you said that this graph will go down. So if you would have seen what I have shown in the slide, also the product which Bill Gates talk about will become obsolete, and you've seen many products already becoming obsolete with time. So either you make it evolve it, if it is not something which the consumer would see or foresee from the evolution standpoint also, then it is a time for you to rethink and revisit the purpose and see what can be done today and tomorrow as your emerging needs. Please note, it is not about only today needs, it is also about something about to do with the emerging needs also, which you start addressing it today. Okay, so I bring it these couple of points as the key points here. And yes, the foremost thing is you have to understand your consumer base, understand a lot about your consumer, their latter needs, and as Dr. Shubha also talked about it. And very important is you challenge your own assumption, please. Otherwise, we'll be building something which, which the consumer would not need. So you identify the right problems, solve those problems creatively, and you co-create with your consumer. The most important is keep connecting with your consumer because their needs are changing. And that's the most important thing. So listen to your consumer. Listen with your eyes and ears. So it's important to make a relationship with them which is long lasting. Okay, and most important is a lot of people say that we already have a solution, everything is successful, but we want to position it in a way in a different market or maybe in the same market. We want to sell it. So design thinking has very important element of crafting human stories, those consumer connections. You grab the inspiration and transform them into stories that inspire them to come back. So that's something also which is something which is very much part of the integral part of the design thinking, which inspires action internally in your organization to get an idea, move to action, or to your investor or to your any other stakeholders or to your consumers. But it is right important part, what it is called is storytelling. So, and storytelling is not about your product, it is about your consumer and their needs. Okay, so this is something I think Amity had put in their LinkedIn. I saw it today morning as well. They said that most of the startups fail because because that's a multi-million-dollar idea. But what happens is that that's not something which is a consumer need. So yes, indeed, that's what CB Insights that also projects in their 2019 November insights they have gathered. The number one reason for startups to fail is absolutely no market need, and then blah blah all the other reasons which you see on the slide. Ask me any question which you think is not something which we can work on with design thinking. From my perspective, you can work on each of the points with design. Be it you are into sales, be it you are into marketing, you are into human resource, any of your business function team, you have just started, you have begin with, and you see that there is an issue internally. So that also can be resolved by this approach. Okay, we move to the next, and I wanted to really touch upon this because we are in this COVID times, and how is business responding to the changing needs. So there are organizations which are actually revisiting the purpose. There are organizations which are repurposing the capabilities. That repurpose capabilities, I gave an example of Ford, and revisiting the purpose is something where they're looking at, what they're doing is something which needs a lot of enhancement from the current standpoint, and they see that the way consumer would approach their in the market to buy their product would be very different from this COVID times in future as well. So what can they do from what can they learn and what can they change? And very important is that organizations have started actually iterating already. They have already begun with revisiting the purpose. They've already begun by repurposing the capabilities. They're already iterating. Very importantly, what they're doing in this COVID times is that they're focusing on the people, and the leaders are focusing on market as well as internally their employees, because it is not only the employees are your first customers. So it is important to keep their mental health in very good shape and see what their needs, emerging needs are, and how they can help. So when we're talking about this COVID times, I wanted to bring in a couple of startup examples. Airbnb is very famous. It was a startup initially back many years ago into hospitality, which did not work very well initially. And what happened is that they wanted to understand what is not going very well in their startup. What happened is that they looked at design thinking, and they thought of connecting with their consumer, and they actually flew to different locations where their this hospitality services are being provided in different parts of United States. And what they saw and what they heard from their consumer is very different from what they were assuming sitting in their office. And that is that the whole issue was the kind of picture they were putting it on their website was not very clear to the consumer about why they should go for this kind of a cottage, or why they should go for this kind of a house or an apartment, because that's not very clear. And why would they pay for it? That simple thing, which is moving from amateur photography to some professional, they hired professional photographers, and they also got in professional cameras, high resolution pictures were clicked, and they were replaced, and the amateur photographs were replaced by the high resolution pictures, and that worked for them. So they discovered a pattern. Very important is that when you actually meet your consumers, you actually identify a pattern among those needs when you're meeting different consumers, and that gives that automatically voices out that this is something which needs a change. Now with COVID times, how they're changing, I wanted to bring on that as well. So as you know, hospitality sector is struggling right now. People are not so much into travel right now, especially for leisure. So what they're doing is that a couple of things which they did is that they're creating online experiences for their customers, and right from not only experiencing those exotic locations to also connecting with a chef for a cook class. Now, can you imagine? This is so different from what they do, or a class for choreography. These are so different from what they do. So it does not mean they have completely revisited the purpose, Shyam. You asked me that question, that's why I'm bringing this. So Sorry, someone is annotating. Okay, so this is where it is important to understand you're only enhancing and expanding according to the customer needs. And above all, what beyond this they are doing is that, yes, the kind of cottages now people are looking forward to, when they're traveling in India, is that they want an independent house where they just check in a different, in a kind of a hill station or such kind of a beautiful location where they just move in. It's completely sanitized. There's nobody there. They have the cleaning material. They take care of it. They stay for a few weeks and they come back. This is happening actually right now in India as well. So, but this is also happening outside India. So such kind of new emerging needs are coming. But the sanitation and the sanitization is being looked at foremost as the need. So that's how they are addressing is something which is something which they are continuously projecting and marketing on that. And above all, people are looking for a very short weekend getaways. They're not looking for traveling by plane. So they are right now focusing on those nearby locations where people can travel and see these kind of and experience this kind of. So it is about, whole idea is to just respond to the changing needs. So what's your response rate is very important. I wanted to bring started as a startup. It's an Indian company. It's a social enterprise. It's called Reap Benefit. And this Reap Benefit is based out of Bangalore. And they recently bagged $10,000 in our Open Idea Challenge. And this organization is a social enterprise. What they do is they mentor the youth to take up the campaigns, to run campaigns in their local communities and become problem solvers in their local communities, basically on civic actions, some kind of civic actions which they can do, perform or exercise in their local community. So they mentor them and make them do that. Now, what happened in the COVID time? There are a couple of needs which this picture also talks about. One obvious need is that, yes, the migrant workers, they are left stranded, or they're not even getting the daily needs fulfilled. So how do we help them? That's one. About identifying those areas or the hotspots where the workers are there. But beyond this is also about identifying the hotspots where the ration is available. And okay, we all like to give, but do we know that has that reached or not? So they are also looking at dispersal. So how do they look at this dispersal? Is something through these youths who are mentored by them, who are in their local communities, who ensure that this is reached to those migrant workers and their families, right from healthcare stuff to the food and basic need are fulfilled. And they have started with the WhatsApp channel for this, for everybody to interact, and they have a dashboard also where you can identify where things are being needed and who are the people who can support in terms of delivering, and who are the people who can financially support. So there are 3 segments. So this is a good part, and wanted to bring in because they're also not exactly shifted the way they are working, operating right now, but they use those capabilities to enhance and help in the COVID times. I wanted to bring in one more thing. Swiggy, everybody knows it's a food delivery app, and they actually help you to get your favorite food by the your favorite restaurant to your doorstep. Beyond this, they're also looking at helping you to get the essentials. So they are not only looking at food right now, they've also moved to the essentials part also. So they're tied up with different mega marts also to deliver that. So it is about assessing the needs continuously, and then you work on it. So with that, I close my presentation And one thing I would look forward to before you start asking me questions, and there are two things actually. One is a tip I wanted to give it to all of you, and that is that if you, wherever you are wherever you are in your journey in your startup, start writing your assumptions right now. Whatever you are assuming about the consumer needs, just pen it down and transform or move it or reframe it into questions, and then get the answers for that. There'll be a lot of new insights which you will get. So start with the assumptions, what you're assuming about your consumer today, and then reframe that as questions. And then look for the answers, not from yourself, look for the answers from your customer. Okay, and one more thing I wanted to share here is that this kind of an approach only requires one thing, and that is practice, practice, and practice. Doing is more important than just learning and having this kind of a session only. It is about actually practically applying this and seeing how it is helping. So before you ask me questions, Sahil, can we take a quick selfie with everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Just a minute.
So I want people to pose in one way, and that is that whatever currently you are designing, you could be designing any product, specific product. How would you actually show it visually using your hands? You don't have the product in front of you, but if you have it, it's good. Otherwise, or a service or an experience, how would you express it? It's the time of crafting a story. So we start with that as a selfie moment for all of us. Would that be okay? And then we take up the questions.
Can I request everybody to switch on their cameras for the selfie? So when I say 3, we should be ready for the selfie. 1, I hope everybody's ready for the selfie.
Yeah.
2, 3. Ma'am, would you selfie also?
Sorry?
Would you like to take one? Would you like?
Sorry, Sahil, what did you say?
I'm saying, would you like to take a selfie at your end also?
Oh, sorry. I did not take. I made a pose. One more time, please. I request. Yes. Everybody, please. Whatever product you're designing, express it visually. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Okay, now we open up for questions. I'll be happy to take up your questions.
So a request. Question could.
Hello, this is Prem.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Prem here. I just want to share my thoughts. Actually, I'm a startup. I have one startup, 2 startup company. One is in Bangalore and one is in Chennai. I would like to address here because I was a tremendous experience in the startup-based companies. Like 15 years, I worked in industry, and I have a manufacturing knowledge, and I studied in BHN. So a lot of things I have done it in my career. Right now, I understand that yes, design thinking is very important. My startups is a 3D printer manufacturing machines. So probably what is 3D printer. It's a main. It's one of the good product which will helps to develop your product by yourself and get your product in your hand. In this scenario, in COVID period, most of the people have a very good thoughts, and the imaginations they have a very good. Even I am doing some projects based on the COVID also. My only concern is, okay, everybody have a thought, and they doesn't have a knowledge on how to execute it. In terms of because only a few people have the experience in the manufacturing, and only few people have a knowledge on how to get the product to the market. See, product coming to the market is one of the challenging tasks, and development is one of the challenging tasks. The both integrated is a very difficult in the current scenario, especially in India. I have seen more than 100 startup companies. They have a vision, they have a thought, they have a but very minimalistic budgetary thing, and they want to do something different, but it is not possible in the real-time market. I hope everybody, those who have any experience in a manufacturing or those who have experience in a product development, they may understand about my questions. So how we have to survive in a financial, if you want to do something innovatively, they have to get a knowledge on what is the reality need for the customers, and how to whom you have to approach it. Is it the right person? Because some people will do a unnecessary investment on some other product and losing a lot of money, and finally they will find a better person and trying to get the product in a minimalistic way of money. So first, financial fund is also something important, and parallelly the product market value is ready, is available, is needed or not. It's one more survival is important. And third thing is, who is the right person to do the product? In my experience, I'm sharing it because a lot of people may have they bought a 3D printer in a different places in China, like some other, and it is failed. It's not working out. When I going to approach the market, that this is the product from India, I do manufacturing. Can you able to use it and get the experience of it? Means probably the fund is a financial thing is on a constraint. So my personal thing is getting the right people on finding the right choice and who is the right person to get this market need. That is helpful. Hope I can share my minimal thought. Thanks for your time. Thanks for all.
So are you looking for some kind of answer to this, that how do you approach the right consumer?
I need an answer how you will be, based on your experience, how the thinking person can find the right choice and what is the best way to go forward.
You mean the right consumer?
Yes.
So Prem, as I said, firstly, what you talked about is great. Some of the insights which have come by your experiences. First, as I give a tip, is that pen down these what you have just shared with me or with everybody, and see and translate them into questions, and then ask those questions not to yourself, to others, because often these could be an assumption that they are buying it from China. It could be cheap, or it could be execution is this, or they want it fast, or whatever. See, there are two things when it comes to buying. You have to understand consumer buyer perspective as well. Why they buy something. See, what they buy, why. Why is the most important part. Have you ever asked yourself, you bought something, why did you buy it? And most of the time you would just, most of the time it is the needs, I understand, but in many of the times you just buy it because you just bought it in a nick of time, and then you realize that, okay, this is, and then you craft an answer that this is why I bought it. So why is very important, understanding the why part, and also challenging your assumptions. This could be your assumptions, this could be your experiences, but we have to see from their perspective, not from our perspective.
Exactly. Right? Yeah, you're right.
Sahil, any other questions which we have?
Ma'am, we have Srinivas has written, could you please share your email ID, ma'am?
Yeah, sure. I'll send it to Sahil, and Sahil can share it as a part of the presentation. Would that be okay, Sahil?
Yes, ma'am. I had a small question.
Yes, please.
This is my second design thinking workshop. I got a chance to attend a design thinking workshop where we did that activity where we took up a use case and we did those the entire process. But I had this thought that during this COVID times, how is is there an upgrade that design thinking would get due to COVID, or is it going to be the same way we're doing it?
You mean that people are not co-located, but people need to be together to do that thing?
Yes, I mean,
So,
will we get a digital upgrade or any kind of changes in the process we do the design thinking or not?
yes, so digitally, how it is happening is that certainly still the organizations, the way I'm coaching them is they are meeting on Zoom or any kind of GeoMeet or other platforms, and we are still working together. And the kind of work which is happening is where, people have to listen to each other more now. So that's where some kind of, a different, more techniques we are introducing on the way we can listen to other in this digital span of time, because where it's such a short span of time, we want to hear, but there is so much distractions happening. We are not in the same room. And the other thing is, there is another second thing which I work, because I come from the background of organization culture design, and that is that I help them make a connection with each other, even while they're working together right now. So it is important that you make a connection and just not start, okay, today there's a meeting, let's start, where were we? And then you just start on that. And what do we build? No, it's about to make a personal connection with each other. And how do we do that? It's very important. So empathize with each other is very important. Empathy, as I said, is a core of design thinking, where you know your consumer. It's also about knowing each other very well. So, if the team doesn't work very well, you'll not get the product very well. And third, very important right now, what is happening from the customer perspective, that since we are not able to go to them and talk to them, so what is happening is that a lot of them are, making up different kinds of ways to reach them. So even if they do a video, why would a customer come? So that is something you have to think creatively and make them involved and be a part of your process. So that's something organizations are thinking very creatively than the way they have been doing in the past, that you went to the shopping mall, you catch hold of someone and you got them and you asked them something. So how do you actually invite them, and why would they come? Why? Why about you? Why about them? And then bring it. So that's how it is happening. And did I answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, we have two more questions. So Ritvik Pandey has a question. Ritvik, you can ask your question.
Okay, anybody else? Till the time Ritvik takes time, should we? We'll come back to Ritvik in a moment, and Dr. Shubha also in a moment. Anybody else from Dr. Shubha and Ritvik who has questions?
We have Srinivas who has a question.
Okay.
Yes. Hi, it was a wonderful session, ma'am. Ma'am, I am an independent consultant. I work with the schools and colleges. I realize empathizing is the most important step in this design thinking, but it also happens to be the most time consuming part. So how would you suggest me to go about it, the approach, what I am doing? Because it takes a lot of time to understand students and teachers and the management as well when I'm working with schools and colleges. So is there any better approach where I can take less time to empathize and start working on the problem? Because customer is always looking for a solution, quick solution, but that's not possible with design thinking, is what I am feeling. So what is your take on that?
Srinivas, very quickly, so there's a lot of work which is done by, there's this design kit by IDEO. It's called Design for Education. You can just Google it, you will get the kit and you'll see how, we are reimagining the learning. And there's also another website called Open IDEO. I wanted to share, that's a website where you can actually submit, they throw challenges in these COVID times as well. And then you can throw your ideas, and if your ideas get submitted as Reap Benefit got an award, monetary award also you get it, and you actually get in a lot of association worldwide as well. That's another one. But coming back to one tip I can share with you very quickly, which I, while working with schools and colleges and universities, I have done is that make a small connection with them and make a small persona. Do not make a very big persona, but the personas which you can remember and resonate with them. So that's where you have to see a very quick persona that if you have to define Gauri, how she is, couple of things. And you would see if it is changing also when tomorrow you meet me and you talk to me. A couple of keywords which help you to, whenever the way it's going to help you is talking to your colleagues and your seniors as well, is that what happens is you already have done that prep work when you come to meet me or when we have a meeting. And you know before you start the meeting that this is how Gauri is thinking or this is how she will respond. So you will position your questions differently. So this is a little quick one. This takes a little time when you start practicing it, but then it becomes quicker for you. I have actually lots of personas for, because I work with different organizations, so I keep the personas as sticky notes. And whenever I meet them, before I meet, I always see those personas, and then I'm set in that frame of mind, and then I know how to talk to them and how should I coach them.
Okay, a part of it I do, but I'll try to practice it more. Thank you, ma'am. And it's Open IBO, correct?
Open IDEA is a platform where you can actually send your, they throw the challenges every week or 2 weeks. You can see, you can form a team in India sitting wherever you are, and you guys can work together. And if your idea gets submitted and it's been selected, you get a reward as well. And then further, you also get a lot of attention.
Oh, nice. That's nice. Thank you. Thanks for that, ma'am.
Yes, Ritvik and Dr. Subha, very quickly, Ritvik.
Yeah, ma'am. So can you talk a little bit about the filters that we can use on the feedback that we receive from the customers or from the people with which we are using this design philosophy? And secondly, ma'am, when is the absolute point when you say no?
Sorry, I couldn't hear the second one. The first one was
feedback for making any changes.
Can you repeat those two
Yeah,
again?
the first one was what some of the filters.
Sahil, maybe you can take up the
What are
question on the chat.
some of the
and
filters that we can use for receiving? Okay.
Ritvik,
in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
in the meanwhile, can we move to Dr. Subha very quickly, and I'll come back to Ritvik.
Yeah, I have a question which is regarding the methodology of assessing the customer needs. So design thinking is the basic, it's a umbrella under which we need to understand the customer needs, but there will be very specific methodologies that we can use. One, you mentioned that customer building mapping, right? So something similar to that term.
Dr. Subha, actually, these are techniques which are used. So there is the customer journey mapping if you're using if you're using, you want to understand where the issues are in the entire journey of the customer while they are experiencing your product or a service or an experience. That's one. The art of connecting with the consumer also has something called observation, interviewing. And there are a couple of many others which we do. There's something called analogous experience, truly immersing yourself. And there are a couple of others as well. So it depends on the need, and then you apply. We go back to Ritvik. Yeah, his question, please, Sahil, if you can read. I'm sorry, I've not opened the chat.
Is what are the filters that we can use to categorize the feedback that we receive for the design thinking process, and what are the sum of the makers to keep in mind to reject a feedback? Markers.
You mean feedback from the customer?
Yes, ma'am.
So, okay, couple of things here. So one is you have to see from the lens which we have. You remember that lens which I've shown you? It's available on Google as well. I'll send it to Sahil and he'll give it to you. You have to see what is the most important, what is the priority for you from the business aspect. What is something which is the most emerging need or pressing need? Which is the one which is latent needs, something which people have not seen and you have discovered. So these are kind of filters which will give you something which is non-obvious, not something which is obvious. And the other question was?
Ma'am, the question it's one question. So, what are the filters that we can use to categorize the feedback that we receive from our customers from the design thinking process, and what are the markers to keep in mind to reject a feedback?
Yeah, so accepting, as I said, and rejecting, as I said, is something which you can put it under this, what I just talked about. I hope Pradithya it answers. Give me a thumbs up if it answers or if you need more. Thanks. We move to the next one, Sahil, very quickly. We have just a few minutes left.
When
I'll be happy if people can ask question rather than just putting it on the chat.
Okay.
But,
Mr. Satya Prasad, please ask your question. Can you hear me, Mr. Satya Prasad? Ma'am, I'll just read out the question.
Yes, yes, please.
In the chat, it's mentioned when is it used in brainstorming, design thinking? When is it used in brainstorming?
Oh, it is actually ideation is the phase where we use brainstorming as one of the technique, but we use it very differently from the way it has been done. As I said, everything is revolving around the consumer. So from the consumer lens, how do we brainstorm is something which we apply here. Ideation is the phase where we begin using this.
Okay. Do we have any more questions? Ma'am, I think we're done. We're done with the questions for now. So before we end this session, I would just like to take a feedback through the chat. I mean, looking at the participants, when we started the session, we had around 50 participants. Until the end, we managed to, keep 41 engaged. So just drop in your feedback in the chat, and I mean, it'll be great if you could share your feedback.
I want to say thank you to Gauri. It was really wonderful session. I really enjoyed it. Keeping attention of a 60-year-old man, glued to the screen is very difficult. And for someone like me who is suffering from ADHD for last maybe 50 years, wonderful session. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Vinay.
Ma'am, we are getting some feedback in the chat. It was a wonderful session. Thank you. Excellent session. I would like more people to, put in their comments in the chat section.
Yeah, I will vocally record it. It's really an interesting session because I'm new to this, totally new to the scenario of startup and all that stuff. And I would like to since I have gone through this design thinking and all, which are all new terminologies, which I thought would be like architectural designing and all that initially, but it's a very interesting session when you started off with the table note. I really liked it, the way it's been started. So thank you for this insight.
Thank you, ma'am. We thank you for your feedback, Dr. Shubha. And we have more comments in the section. Really a good session and also very interactive. Thank you. Explored a new approach, insightful Q&A. Thank you for your insights into this new way of thinking. We'll definitely try to implement. Thank you for a nice informative session. Camera isn't working, sorry. Thanks, Gauri and Amity Incubator. Looking forward to stay in touch. Brainstorming session, need more sessions like these. Moving on to the final part of the session, the thank you note. So I would like to thank you, Gauri ma'am, on behalf of the entire Amity Innovation Incubator family, our President, Honorable Rasim Chauhan sir, our CEO, Mr. Jasvi Babbar, and the entire team and all the attendees who had joined for this session. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing all your experience and all the insightful information. And we'll try to have similar sessions soon. And maybe a focus session, maybe marketing or in the other verticals, if we could. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. Keep designing. Bye.
Thank you.